Morning, guys. Yeah, we've got a few guys logged on already. Can you all hear me okay? I'm just gonna assume yes. All right, yeah. Can you all hear me? Can someone just, okay, yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
Thanks, Dara. Nice. So I wonder if we should just wait for like couple of more minutes so that we can give other people the opportunity to join. Um, but also because I've managed to compress so much information within this hour. I think we might just be starting in the next minute, really. Um, and I hope you're all okay. So can I hear where you guys are joining in from this morning? Um, yeah, just any of you can speak first. Where are you joining in? What's your name and where are you joining in from, please? Okay, I'll just call your names then. I've got Adewale.
Yeah, good morning.
Morning, sir.
Yeah, Adewale from Nigeria.
Oh, nice. Yeah, thank you for joining in today. Um, okay. Yeah, Mr. Wale. Good afternoon, sir. Yeah, from Norwich. Um, Uluwadara.
Good morning, sir. I'm joining from London.
Oh, wow, London people. Nice one. So usually in the past when we've had taster session like this, we've had um really high number between 15 and 25 joining in. But when it comes to the training itself, usually we've had maybe like 7 people joining. On the average, I'll say 5 people per batch. And for me, the number is really good. I like smaller classes, if you understand what I mean, because then you are able to interact with people. So the teacher to participants ratio isn't that bad when you compare when you look at like 1 to 5, it's not terrible at all. So it's really good. So yeah, let's see how we get on with this. So I think I'll just kick off now because of time, like I mentioned. I'm gonna be sharing my screen just in a moment. Let's see how it's going. Okay. But yeah, thank you for joining in this morning. Like I've welcomed some of you and I've just seen that I think 2 more people have just joined. So great. So trying to share my screen. There we go. Yeah, can you all see my screen now, guys?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, good. So now why we're here is to explore, to understand a little bit more about the web producer role in a tech team. I'm not sure many of us really know about this role or if you've ever heard of it at all in the past. You might have come across it one way or the other, but you probably just never paid attention to it at all. And it's because it's one of those roles that are hidden in tech. And well, I'll get to it. So let me just move on to the next slide by introducing myself really briefly. So I'm an IT consultant here in the UK and also consider myself an entrepreneur. So yeah, I've got a master's degree in cryptography and cybersecurity. And I've been in this field for almost 10 years. So I definitely know what I'm talking about. And again, for some of you that might have maybe met me one-on-one in the past, you know this is what I've been doing for a long time. And this training that we've organized now is part of the bigger training which we've been running since the past year, actually, since last year. So what I've done is I've collaborated with a few of my friends who are in different niches within the tech, and so we are training people to get jobs. So now I think it's worth mentioning just before we kick off that this training is targeted at people who are really looking forward to getting a job in the role within the next, I'll say, 3 months. So, but if you want to join for maybe just for educational purpose, well, you're welcome. But the trainings that we've been organizing, like I mentioned in the past year, is always targeted at people who are really keen to get a job in the fields. So moving on to the next slide. In this session, we're going to be talking about what a content management system is and why and how it's being used by businesses. Who a technical web producer in an agile software development lifecycle team is. So we call SDLC. So I'll tell you more about that in upcoming slides. So the job market, what are the common titles that we've seen that are being given to the same role? So this same role that we're talking about, you'll be surprised that, again, one of the reasons that it's been really, really hidden is because it comes with, different companies have given it different titles. For some reason, I don't know. But part of the things that I'm actually doing in this training is to open our eyes to see these opportunities. And then for those that are interested, go ahead and grab it. So also I'll be mentioning, I'll be talking more about what you are starting to gain in the actual training itself. And then we'll do a quick demo if there is time, but I'm not sure there will be time to do that because compressing so much within an hour, it's almost, impossible, but let's see. So what is a content management system? Now, this web producer role is directly related to what we call a content management system. And we're going to be looking into what a CMS is and why is it relevant and what has a web producer got to do with a content management system. So now, I believe we must have come across, all of us here, well, we are tech savvy, I'm assuming, and we all know what it's meant by a company's website. So one way or the other, you must have used a website, whether you are shopping online using Amazon, eBay, and so on, or just checking out different, or you're working for a company and your company has a website and so on. And for some of you, you might know that part of the business might not be known to you just because, again, maybe you have a different role within the company. But yeah, so in this training, we'll be exploring more about what a CMS is. And the web producer is directly linked with the CMS used by the business. So what a CMS, I've defined it here. It's a software that helps users create, manage, and modify content on a website without the need for specialized technical knowledge. So I'm sure, again, some of us here must have heard of certain content management systems, like maybe Drupal, WordPress. WordPress is like the most popular. Joomla, Umbraco, Django, and so on. And all of these things, all of these software or all of these applications are referred to as content management systems. And you use them to manage content on the business website. So it sounds really, really simple, right? And I think that's one of the reasons a lot of people have never paid attention to that, because yeah, they just see it like really, really too easy. It sounds that way, but it's not exactly. And a lot of people that I've met actually look they look for other roles which are maybe like skyrocket years away, which are like maybe miles away, and even much more complicated roles. You know, you're crossing over into tech, and then you are like targeting. I mean, there's nothing wrong in that, because again, I've met lots of people in my past years of working in the tech niche, and yeah, I've seen people who have just crossed from different role entirely and just come straight into maybe like cybersecurity, or they've come straight into some other roles like PM even and stuff like that. But all of us are not going to all of us are not built the same way, and all of us are not going to have exactly the same opportunity. Okay. And yeah, so anyway, we'll talk more about that as we proceed. This opportunity about CMS and the web producer role is right in front of people's noses, but a lot of people are not paying attention to it. So now, why businesses use content management system? Without a CMS, a developer would be required to make content changes all the time on the website. You can imagine how it used to be done back in the day. So back in the day, the web developers were like the small gods of the businesses. So they designed, or they developed the websites, and these are like static websites basically back in the day, hosted somewhere on the server. And for every little change that needed to be made on the website, they had to go to the web developer all the time. Now, what happens when the web developer goes on holiday, for example? The old business might crumble, or if an accident happens and the web developer is unable to function any longer, so that's definitely going to affect the business. So now, yeah, back in the day, all of the power, like the entire power around management of content for businesses, was sitting with the web developers or the tech person within the team. So now with CMS, everything has become easier. So you just need to like train up someone and then let this person take over and look after the company's website. Now, without a CMS, companies will find it very tedious optimizing website for search engine bots like Google bots to crawl. So now, one thing is for you to have a website. Another thing is for you to be able to optimize it for search engine. And these days, especially during the COVID-19 stay home lockdown, you'll see that a lot of businesses actually went online. A lot of them began to appreciate the internet even more. So nowadays we have a lot of competition when it comes to how you rank on Google. So if you type in any search keyword into Google, you will see lots of results just come up for you. So now the struggle, the competition is between different companies to make sure that they actually rank higher on search engine result pages on Google and other search engines, for example. And yeah, the competition is there. So with a CMS, most companies, in fact, if not all, over 99% of companies that are online use content management system nowadays, so that they can rank higher on search engine results. So we'll talk more about that. Businesses will encounter issues, especially when they have to publish dozens of pages every day. So now, like I introduced myself, see, I've seen this like firsthand In my introduction, I mentioned that I'm an IT consultant, and what that means to different people might vary. Personally, like I mentioned, I'm also an entrepreneur, right? So over the past years, I've found myself consulting for different businesses using different skills. So I've been a backend developer, I've been a front-end developer, I've been full stack, I've moved on, I've worked with data, I've worked with all kinds of things. Yeah, just name it. I functioned at some point as business analyst. I functioned everywhere. So even project management and so on. So now, and part of the things that I've actually done was also functioning as a web producer. And as a matter of fact, even right now, one of the projects that I'm handling, I'm functioning as a web producer for them. So, and this is the more reason why, I really want a lot of people to know about this, because in the past, when I was a developer, for example, or when I was like core developer, we used to have that challenge almost within every team that I'd worked, whereby, yeah, you've got like 5 developers working on a project, but then developers don't want to be sidetracked. They don't want to be distracted from what they're doing. Okay, developers just want to focus on writing codes. They don't want to be the ones managing content for the website, for the business website. They don't want to be the ones that will be called to come and, maybe do some other things related to the website. They just want to write their codes and just keep their heads down and be behind the scene. So we used to have the challenge a lot of times, and then businesses will advertise for the role of a web producer, and we wouldn't even get anyone because people don't know about it. So at the end of the day, you might have to call someone up in the business and train them to be managing the website. So now, again, it sounds really simple, but I tell you, it's not a simple stuff. So you might be working on a project whereby you might have to manage like dozens of pages on a day, or like publish dozens of pages in a day. So yeah, it depends on what kind of business it is. If you're working for maybe Sainsbury's, for example, Sainsbury's online Sainsbury's, every day, you have to restock, you have to enlist all the items in stock and stuff like that. So yeah, anyway, we'll talk more about that. So who is a web producer? Who is a CMS web producer? I keep putting this CMS here because, like I mentioned, a web producer, a web producer's role is about, I'll say 90% focused on the content management system that the business uses. But then you will see how powerful this role is, as time goes on. I'll show you. Now, so again, within an agile software development lifecycle team, you would have different stages. So the first stage will be, the planning stage, whereby you have the stakeholders talking about the need for the website, or it might even be a migration project, or it might even be that they just need to upgrade their website from what they had before. So now the planning phase is there. This involves a lot of people. And then from there, you move on to the analysis phase, whereby you've got like the business analysts come on board, and the business analysts, they analyze the business requirements and then translate this to the developers, or at least the developers and the architects. They explain all of this to them, and then so they be the merge between the stakeholders and the agile development team. So now the next phase will be the design phase, whereby, okay, at this phase, we understand now why we need a website. We understand the purpose for this website. Now, the designers, you've got the UI designers, they come on board, the web designers, they come on board, user experience designers as well, they come on board, and they all come together just to ensure that, yes, we actually design this website, or we design exactly what the business requires. Okay, so now the UI designers will be on board. Like I mentioned, you've got UX designers, you've got all kinds of designers at this phase. Now, the implementation bit, that's where you've got the developers coming. They are writing the codes, they are translating this, the front-end developers are working on the UI designs and translating that into code. The back-end developers are helping with the database. The architect or the DevOps within the team, they are helping to set up all of the infrastructure that will be needed, and so on. So this implementation phase is a very crucial phase. And then, yeah, let's say the website is ready now. We're not just gonna push everything to live, right? So you need the testing phase, and this testing phase, that's where you find the QA, testing and integration phase. You find the quality assurance testers. You've got different people within the team, okay, helping to test the website. But also, the most let me just mention that the most important people within this phase will be the QA and the web producer. Now, again, the web producer is meant to be the person who has the most knowledge about the content management system that the business uses. So the QA is working alongside the web producer to test the different functionalities on the website. So say developers have said, okay, we've actually pushed a new button, a new call to action button called maybe buy now for different items in stock. So they pushed it live. The web producer knows the in and outs of the content management system. He or she goes in there and helps out to test this CTA button that we're talking about. The QA, they would even be coming to the web producer to ask for advice, like, okay, I want to change the color of this. How can I do it? Then the web producer, tells them or informs them of how to go about different things. Now, let's say now we've got the websites up and running. Everything has been pushed live. Now, the next phase will be the maintainers and, like the daily maintenance and what we call the BAU, the business as usual maintenance of the website. So every single day, there'll be something to do, especially, I'm talking about working for a big company now. If you're working for banks, for example, working for Barclays or Lloyds and stuff, every single day there is something to do on the website, and we'll talk more about that. So now, this wheel that I've shown you here is just to show you the phases whereby you find the web producer contributing mostly within the team. And the next slide here is to show you something very, very important. And that is to say, there is no particular tech role that is bigger than the other. Okay. So that's another confusion that people have. Again, I've met people and I've got a lot of friends in different parts of this IT field. And some people might see maybe a business analyst as more important than the developers or than the database administrator and so on. There is nothing like that at all. There is nothing at all. And this is one of the things that I have always stressed every time that I've had the opportunity to talk with people and to encourage people who are crossing over into tech. There is no role that is more important than another, okay? Because you could have like the most brilliant developer, okay? if there is no good user experience UX experts in the team or product owner, there is no way he or she can function. So if you don't have a good database guy on board, there is no way the rest of the team can really function. You know, in tech, we all rely on one another. So the web producer will be found around here again. So which is you know, it's called copy. This in this slide you see copy written there, but yeah, it doesn't matter. So we'll get to the naming convention and all kinds of names that we have for the role as we go on. So you've got user researcher, okay, a user research experts here. They are all very important, working alongside UI developers and UI designers. So every person that you find within the agile team, every single person is very important. So there is no role which is higher than the other. You will find the cyber security guys, they are no more important than the BA or than the testers, the QA testers. They are no more important. Every single one, you are all important together. And again, another thing that I've seen a lot in this tech field in the past years. You could have someone who is maybe like the most senior developer, for example, within a team, and they are earning way less than the web producer within a team. So now, again, it depends on where you find yourself. So you might be the most talented person, but then you don't have the opportunity, you know, to work in a very good company that pays or that appreciates what you do and also pays you really well. So that is it. So that's what I've put here also, that earnings depend on a lot of factors. So someone might be telling you, I think you should cross over to tech and go and become a business analyst because you'll be earning way more than a user experience designer or something. There is nothing like that. I tell you, that's the truth. There is nothing like that. You become a BA because you actually fancy it. You desire to become a BA. Okay? You want to become a DevOps person, an ops or operations person, because you really desire to be that person. Okay, so you become a web producer because you desire to become a web producer. And again, another advantage, which I'm going to touch base on later, is the fact that as a web producer, you are interacting with all of these people on a daily basis. At one point or the other, you will always, because you are I don't know, you're very powerful. You are holding the entire website of the business. Every single person has something to do with you. They'll be coming to you. Product owner, they'll come talk to you. The user interface designers, the UI designers, they'll come talk to you, because everything that is happening around the websites, you are the core power holding the whole thing. But again, it's one of the roles that people don't even see in a tech organization. Okay, so now let's move on to the next slide. The role of a web producer, I think I've actually mentioned a lot about the role of a web producer in the previous slide, but I'll just quickly run through this. So it's one of the few tech roles that requires no coding skills, okay? If you have the knowledge of coding, which is, I'm talking of like a basic HTML, CSS, JavaScript, yeah, that's good enough. You will find yourself working. You find more opportunities for yourself. Let me put it that way. Okay, so but it's not essential to have a coding skill. Also, it provides a BAU support for. A web producer provides BAU support for the business. So what that means is, again, the entire business is dependent on you. Every single change that they want to make on the website, and they will continue to need you, because every single change they want to make on the website, they are consulting you, they are contacting you all the time. Oh, we need to create a campaign page to send out next week. yeah, we need your help to please help us put that together. The UI designers, they design how that page is going to look. And because you are used to the entire website, you already know different components to put together on certain page. So you are not writing code, you're just making use of you. Okay, the way I put it is that you are the Lego, the Lego, what's it called now? The Lego builder. Okay, you are the Lego builder. So you've got the designers, you've got the developers, they've done their jobs, and you've got different Lego blocks presented to you. And then the UI designer says, okay, we need a new campaign page. We need a header at the top. We need a button there. We need You've become so familiar with the entire content management system of the business. You know different components that you can put together to achieve that particular page that has been presented to you by the UI designer. So yeah, every single day you are needed in the business. So you build the web pages and the content from templates. So there's something we call templates. Again, these are like pre-built layouts by the developers, pre-built layouts that you just, let's call it a skeleton of a page that you just need to create, and then you begin to plug in different contents within the page. And like I mentioned to you, even at the moment, in one of my gigs, in one of my projects, I'm working for a very massive company as a web producer on the side. And this is the more reason they struggled to find someone to do this. So there are not many web producers out there because people are not opening eyes to it. People are rather like going for all the big name roles within the tech field. So all the time you will always find something to do. I mean, that's been the case with me anyway. So also supports on increasing engagement and organic traffic. So what that means is that earlier I mentioned something about ranking on the Google search result page, right? So there's now when it comes to engagement with your website, a lot of factors come into play. You'll find out that on some pages of your websites there isn't enough traffic. And how do you find all of these things out? You find out by using a tool like Google Analytics. So you've got Google, GA, Google Analytics, or you might use different other different tools like maybe Adobe Analytics and so on. So now all these analytics tools, they are used to collect data for every interaction that has existed between a user of your website and and your website or a particular web page. You get all of this data pulled into Google Analytics, for example, and right in there, you can go in and see how many people have visited your page today, or which page or which pages are not performing as expected. Which buttons have been clicked on mostly in the past 24 hours or in the past week. And you want to understand how the website is performing. So part of the things that we'll be talking about in this training, the actual training, is how you can gain the knowledge of Google Analytics to be able to read all of this data and interpret it to the business stakeholders. So when they ask you, so again, yeah, all these things look really, really easy. But yeah, very, very crucial. So now the next one, update and you update and then you maintain the existing website content and ensure information is always up to date. So now see, this role, like I mentioned, is a very crucial role. You might find yourself working for a bank, for example. For every text that goes on a page, in most organizations, you would have compliance team check everything. So they want to make sure that, you know, like for every text, everything has been worded correctly. The contents has been written to suit exactly the users or the audience that they're targeting. Okay, so they are entrusting everything to your hands. You are working with copywriters on the side. The copywriters are saying they are giving you copies that should go on a campaign page, for example. Now, you want to make sure that you don't make a single mistake, you know, especially if you're working for financial companies, like I said. If they expected like 8%, for example, to be on certain page, they are entrusting everything to your hands that, yeah, you're not going to change that to 18%, because that can, any single letter, this is what I've seen, even like a comma or a dot could actually cost the business millions of pounds. And that is the truth. And they are entrusting everything to your hands. So yeah, they need someone who can pay high attention to details. So yeah, I'm just mentioning that on the side. But yes, so you know, you'll be maintaining all of the content and ensuring the information on the website is correct. And these skills are transferable into different other IT fields. Yes, I've seen people, again, in the past years, I've seen people whom I'd actually encouraged to cross over to, they wanted to come into IT, and I encouraged them to cross over as a web producer. And they got in, and within their team, they'd done excellent job, okay, and then they interacting with different people in different roles within the team, the QA, the developers, and so on. And by interacting with them on daily basis, they were able to come up with, okay, I think I'm very much interested in becoming like a web analyst at the end of the day, because I really like what this guy does. And yeah, I really, really, really want to do it. They've come in as a web producer, and then they've eventually just moved over into another role within the tech field, basically. Or you don't necessarily need to move over to another role. You might as well just take on maybe other things that you find really, really interesting, maybe cybersecurity or project management. You know, you begin to learn that on the side. And you might find yourself, again, if you're a business person like me, you might find yourself consulting with your project management skills on the side, as well as still continue consulting with your web producing, web production skill sets, and then, you know, as many things as you can do. Yeah, there is a lot of opportunities these days, especially post-COVID. You can work remotely, you know. Yeah, that's another topic entirely. So work on as many projects as possible, different companies as possible, and nothing is holding you back at all. So these skills are transferable, like I mentioned. All the things that you're learning within the web production role, all the skills are really, really transferable. And you are, I don't want to say the most important person in the Agile SDLC team, because again, like I mentioned earlier, we are all equal. Every single person within the tech team is equal to the other. So now, why you should consider this IT role? So in this image that I put here, this is just to illustrate to you so this, like I mentioned earlier, this is to illustrate the confusion that people find themselves in when it comes to, oh, what do I do? Like, which IT field do I actually go into? And you've probably spoken to about a dozen people who have told you, oh, I think you should become this. I think you should become a BA. I think you should become a developer. Oh, I think no, DevOps is the next thing. No, I think you should become this and that. So you've got a lot of confusions going on, and I've met people who have paid thousands and thousands of pounds, training from one skill set to the other. They've gone from cybersecurity to BA to project management to Scrum Master. Yeah, everything. But at the end of the day, the challenges they are having is, okay, now going into the market or maybe trying to find a job. And then, yeah, there are some hiccups here and there. And yeah, it's causing another delay, and they are becoming really, really frustrated. So I've met all kinds of people, and I've got a lot of friends, and I always encourage people. And yeah, I've advised people to just, look into the web production role, look into it. It's profitable, more profitable than you can imagine. You go in there, and from doing that, you'll find yourself learning more about even other skill sets, which you might find useful at the end of the day. So there is a top secret which I've always mentioned to people, but I'm really happy to mention it here, because again, I believe that it's not all of us present here today that will definitely be coming for the training, but I don't mind giving this top secret out. And you see, many years ago when I first moved to the UK, and I was working in an IT firm as a developer, one of the directors, it's a financial company, one of the directors called me to the side while we were just having a was it lunch or something like that? Yeah. No, it was a small party. Yeah, it was a small party. So we were just having a chat, and he called me to the side and he said, "So what are you doing now?" I said, "Oh, I'm the developer." He said, "Oh yeah, great job. I've read about you." But there is something that I think a lot of people are not paying attention to, and it is the fact that the tech industry is shifting. The tech industry is really, really shifting towards certain areas, but not many people are opening their eyes to. And it's shifting towards CMS, ERP, CRM. Now, what that means is this is a content management system. This is enterprise resource, planning system. These are different things, customer relations management. Some of you probably know about some of these tools. When you're talking about CRM, you might be talking about Salesforce, for example, and so on. So let's take Salesforce, Salesforce CRM as an example. What the guy was saying to me is that around Salesforce, you can actually build your career around that CRM. So Salesforce, you can become a Salesforce developer. You can become a Salesforce business analyst. You can become a Salesforce project manager. You can become anything, any role at all within the tech field that just add Salesforce to the front. Okay, so we've got another one called Workday, which is actually very popular in the States. Workday, and actually I've got a couple of my friends who have been doing they are Workday developers. And I know one is Workday developer, another one is Workday analyst. So basically, what the analyst does is he's an administrator for that particular CRM that I've mentioned. So now, and they're really enjoying the role. CMS as well. You'll see we've got different types of CMS, like I mentioned earlier. You've got WordPress, you've got AEM, Adobe AEM, you've got Magento, Sitecore, and so on. Now, nowadays, you find people going into something like Sitecore, analysts. Again, you just need to take the name of the product, and then you attach a tech role to it. You append or you prepend a tech role title to it. For example, you can have a Magento business analyst, you have a Magento project manager, Magento Scrum Master, Magento whatever, web producer. Okay, so this is a top secret that not many people are paying attention to. You can even be, if you want to be a cloud security expert, you can be around that. You can be a Salesforce cloud security. You can be like a WordPress cloud security or WordPress DevOps and so on. Yeah. So these, if you're taking nothing away from this from this training, from this session today, I would like you to just take this part away, and you can go do more research on all of these things, and you will find that a lot of people are actually building their careers around a particular, just maybe a single product from a vendor. Okay, you just select that particular product and then you just build a career around it. So that's how people are doing these days. So I thought it's worth mentioning, just because it's related to CMS itself and directly related to a web producer role. So you might have a Magento web producer, a Magento, a WordPress web producer, Drupal web producer, AEM web producer, and so on. I've seen the titles written like in different formats in the past. So now I'll move on to the prerequisites for this role. What exactly is it that you need? Do you need a degree or not? Yeah, you don't need a degree to be able to become a web producer. Digital literacy is all you need, 100%. You must be able to operate a laptop. If you don't know how to operate a computer, okay, that's another topic for another day. I can advise you on how to go about like learning from scratch, but once you know your confidence and you can find your way around using any kind of machine, whether either it's Windows or Mac, it doesn't matter at all. So as long as you can find your way around using all of these machines, then you are perfectly okay. So now, excellent time management skills. Like I mentioned earlier, you are the power, the powerhouse of the entire business. So they are entrusting the entire website of a whole bank to your hands. Okay. Now, different tickets are coming in for you. You must be able to prioritize which tickets are most important. Okay. So yeah, it's a common sense thing anyway. When it comes to time management, it's not something I'm going to be talking so much about, but you know what it is. You must be able to like manage your time very well. Excellent attention to detail. I've mentioned this earlier. Excellent attention to detail. Yeah, you don't want to cost the business millions of pounds. Every single thing, every single detail within the copies and everything that have been given to you, maybe by a lot of times the copywriters, they make mistakes. They send you something and they've misspelled certain words. So this coming to you, you're not just going to be grabbing the whole thing and just putting within the website. No, you want to go through a little bit, and you use tools like Grammarly, for example. So Grammarly is a tool I've been using for years as well. So it just like points out to you different errors on the page. You'll be like, oh, how did you guys miss this? Okay, look at it. Yeah, because if the business is gonna blame anyone at all, I mean, they might as well just blame the entire team. So yeah, sometimes they just come straight to you to point fingers at you because you are the person responsible for the entire website. So they come to you right away. They'll be like, oh, why did you let that happen? They'll be like, oh yeah, I didn't see that bit. Well, you should have seen it. So excellent attention to detail is very, 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 important. Communication skills, you must learn to, well, a lot of us know how to communicate anyway. You must learn to communicate with other people within the team, especially the stakeholders. And yeah, good attitude, you don't want to be saying all the time, stuff like that. There are certain attitudes that you have to like cut off, And yeah, for years that I've been in this field, and this bits I've seen really, really important as a valuable attribute to have, because it's part of the reasons why some companies are really, really afraid to hire people that have no UK experience. Or I don't know where you're joining us from, maybe America or from other places, or Finland or so. Yeah, businesses within that particular location, they will prefer to hire someone who has had experience within that country, because they don't know where you're coming from. They don't even know whether you can fit in. I believe within in this session, we've got like maybe a couple of people who are into HR, and they can even advise, they can tell you more about, these communication skills. There's a lot of things that you look into, that you consider when it comes to hiring someone. So this is very, very important. You want to showcase a really, really solid level of confidence and so on. So adaptability and desire to learn quickly, yeah, that's very important as well. And wow, we are almost okay. So I think we might stop at 12:15 or so. So I think at this point I would like to quickly show what it's like. Okay, I think I'll come back to this. I was gonna say, what was the salary like? So I'll come back to this after the following slides. So we're gonna check on LinkedIn and Google and then job boards, because one thing I always advise people is, okay, whatever niche you're moving into within the IT, before you start doing the training itself, in some cases, I advise people, go and create a CV, claiming to have all of this skill set, build your CV around that particular job title, and then you send it, you upload it onto different job boards, see how many calls you get, see how many people are emailing you, how much they really need you, rather than leaving it to the last minute. You go and do like a 3-month training, okay, and at the end of the 3-month training, you now come and now you now upload your CV online, and no one is calling you. So what have you done? So usually I advise that, people do that. You build your CV. And another thing that we do in this training is, guiding you around the CV, advising you, on how to write your CV and how to get your CV out there and get considered for this particular role. So, so I think at this point, I would just like to mention really quickly the upcoming training that we've got, the September batch. And I think I've got, hold on a second. I just wanted to show you the curriculum that we've got for that. So now in this actual training itself, we'll be learning a lot of stuff. I've mentioned part of the things about the role of the web producer within SDLC team. We'll be going over that. And also, we'll be looking into Trello, Trello as a project management tool, and as a workflow management tool, because I mentioned that you'll be dealing with a lot of tickets. So these tickets will be coming from certain tool that you'll be using. Some companies use Jira, some companies use Monday.com, some companies use whatever they use, Asana and so on. Trello is very, very popular. It's actually been bought by Jira, by the company that owns Jira. So yeah. Then we'll be talking about the basics of user experience design. It's very important because a lot of times within your team, they will need you to contribute towards like the different things that we can do to improve the website. So you want to put yourself in a position of a user and think about different ways you can optimize the website for UX. Okay, so that's why we're going to be talking about this within the actual training itself. So we'll be doing a bit basics of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Like I mentioned earlier, you don't need coding experience to be a web producer, but if you have it, I tell you, it's golden. You find yourself, the sky is your limit, because then you'll be able to interact directly with developers. You can give advice to developers, you can help them in some cases, and so on. QA, the QA people, you'll be there supporting them, and yeah, a lot of people will be coming to you because you have all of the skill sets. So we'll be touching base on the basics, and also I've selected 3 content management systems for this particular training, which is WordPress. We've got Drupal and Umbraco. These are they are top content management systems that are being used in the industry. There is another set of training which are called the Stage Y. So it's on the website already. This is Stage X, which is the basics. So once you've completed Stage X and you're happy, you can do Stage Y as well. And this is not meant my plan is to run this as quickly as possible, to make it really, really intensive, a 7-day training if possible. And initially I've put here like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but I think from my previous experience, I'm now considering just doing it maybe once a week. Maybe we just choose Saturday, for example, and we just do like maybe 2-3 hours on Saturday, every Saturday. So that way, from experience, I think it's been manageable by participants in the past. So yeah, these are the things I will be looking into for this Stage X. When we go to the next stage, which is Stage Y, then we'll be considering other content management systems, especially the ones used by the banks, and used by maybe like all these top companies as well. So among all of these 3 here, Umbraco is the most powerful because I've seen different top companies use Umbraco. Drupal comes next, and then WordPress. WordPress seems to be like the most basic, but yeah. So I've combined these 3 because they all have like different levels within the CMS world. So yeah, I'll go back quickly to our presentation. So from there, yeah, I've shown, okay, what is in Stage Y? Okay, I think I've just mentioned that. So you learn more about licensed content management system. So these content management systems that are being used by banks and really, really big companies, for example, they are licensed. And with my company, I've got like direct link with some of these vendors, like Adobe AEM, for example. I've got a direct link with my company with Adobe, and I'm able to get licenses for students, the number of students that are interested. So I get those licenses. You can never find all the CMSs free online. These particular ones in Stage Y, you wouldn't find AEM. There's nothing like, I want to go and download it and learn it on my own, and you won't find it. So this is why I've put that training separate. So the way we've done it in the past, gets licenses for students or for participants, and then we just run those the training sessions. So some of them are Adobe AEM, Episerver, Optimizely, Contentful, Sitecore, Magento. Yeah, so these are the ones that we are going to be looking into in Stage Y. So in Stage X, we'll be looking into Drupal, WordPress, and Umbraco, like I mentioned. So let's go to the next slide. We're just about to hit the end of the session. So I think here we are keeping to time, actually. So the popular CMSs, here we've got Adobe AEM, we've got Sitecore, Umbraco, Contentful, and so there's a long list. If you just Google content management systems, you'll find a long list of content management systems. But again, you want to make sure that you are actually learning the ones that will bring you opportunities ASAP, right? That's why we are here. So, yeah. So now, to the most important parts of this session, the job titles. So the job titles related to web production or to the web producer role. Now, I tell you, this is very, very important. I've worked in different companies on different projects, and they've called this same role different things. Believe it or not, you'll be in a role, the same web production role that we're talking about, they will title it a web content editor. And I think this is why a lot of people can't even see the role, because yeah, they don't even know where to look. So, but I've put together all of these names, and yeah, here they are. So content ops analysts, that's another popular name, especially this year. This has really pumped up. A lot of companies are using content ops instead of saying web producer, content ops. Or they might call the role CMS executive or website executive, or they call it a website or CMS coordinator. I've seen people use it as CMS web editor or a web editor, or certain CMS. That is to say, maybe, for example, they say Umbraco editor, okay, or WordPress editor, or AEM editor, Psycho editor. You know, all of these names that I've shown you here, they just Magento editor. They just put all of those. They put that name and then they put the editor in the end. So you're not like a copywriter editor, you know, like what you call copyright, what's it called now, copy editor. No, but this is just the name that they call it in the industry, and I don't know why, but yeah, title is nothing really. Most important is the knowledge that you've got and what you've got to offer to the business. So web content manager, they call it CMS specialist or CMS manager. I've seen website editor, web and CMS analyst, content or web author, marketing executive, content producer, technical publisher, web publisher, and so on. So now there is a lot of titles that we've gone through here. So I think at this point, I just really want to quickly, I want us to check online. Maybe we should check on LinkedIn, for example. Okay, I'm gonna do this. So here I've put this particular one here, web content editor, for example. Let's check like what kind of opportunities are there out there for this particular role. And just let's keep going down. You see these ones, they're calling it e-commerce editor. All right. So how you can know what exactly they need is when you go into the description. And again, another thing I usually tell people is when you look at a job description and you know that you can do about 40-50%, or you have about 40-50% of the skills enlisted within the description, then you should go for that role. So don't wait, don't leave it until the very last, or don't be discouraged and think that, oh no, I cannot do this. So all of these things they're writing here, they're just writing whatever they're writing. You are looking for keywords like maybe CMS or content management system or publishing, websites, and you're looking for things like even the SEO. So in our training, we will be looking, in the actual training, we'll be looking into search engine optimization, of course. So you're looking at all this one, you see technical content, you're looking at all of these things. And once you see that you can find all these descriptions there, oh, they're talking about you as a web producer, then you can quickly just go apply for that. And see, this was posted 2 weeks ago. okay, you've got 72 applicants applying from all over the world, because people apply from everywhere. And so this is called Crypto Content Editor. Again, forget about the crypto side of it. So you want to go straight to the responsibilities, right? And in some cases, they write writing, but it's not your job to be writing. You're not a writer, you're not a copywriter, so you can jump that. Go to things like SEO, and you're looking for like content management system, for example, and so on. So I mean, there's a lot of rules. A lot of roles that you can find out there, and yeah. So we're only using one of these. Remember how many? Let me show you how many. What's it called now? How many titles, how many job roles that I've actually listed here, how many titles I've listed, and I'm just using the first one at the moment, and you can see lots. Let's just move down. This is like website content editor, for example. Yeah, if you look into that, you see you'll be looking for things like CMS and so on. They'll be talking about search engine optimization, user experience. You are not expected to know it. You just need to be aware of that. So this is like awareness of user experience, blah, 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 and so on. It's just about the CMS, really. So now some of this CMS, in this case, for example, this is Contensys. I mean, it's not one of the ones we'll be looking into because it's not popular at all, but they will consider you if you definitely have knowledge of the other ones that we've mentioned. They just want to make sure that, okay, you've got that skill set of using the content management system. So yeah, what I want you to do on your own is to, in your free time, look into just go online, whether on LinkedIn or wherever. You know, there is usually a lot of roles out there that people don't even know about around the web production, this web production niche that we're talking about. So, I mean, that's that. We can even use another keyword. Let's look for maybe a web producer. For example, let's change the keyword to web producer and see what comes up for us. A web producer. Yeah, so you've got digital content producer, Informa. Informa is a really good company. I've worked for them in the past, but as a developer. So it's an FS company. You see, that's a web producer. This one is a junior role, junior content. You can go all the way down and see like how much they are paying even. I can't see anything here, but because of time, I don't have that time to be going through. There should be somewhere but usually you find like the baseline of 30K for permanent roles. But the more years you spend in this, or even months, you find yourself like going really, really high up. But I'm just saying, for someone that is just entering the field, you know, you see like 30, 35 K, which is not bad at all. I'm telling you. Again, I'm not someone that I'm gonna be hyping something for you. I'm not gonna be telling you you'll be getting 100K. No. So but if you then switch over to maybe a consultant, if you become a consultant, you can earn as high as 600, 650 in a day. But that's like on the top end. But on the average, you'll be getting like 300, 350 and so on per day. So yeah. So there's a lot. So that's, and I think you can even go to Google, okay, and just type in maybe content editor jobs. Let's see what Google has to say for us. or we can even put web content editor. I mean, no matter what you put there, you'll see Google will just show you a few results there. You can click on there on any of them and read in detail and just check out what they've got for you there and how much they are paying and so on. This is Imperial College posted 11 days ago. They've got like 43 to 50 something thousand a year, which I'm telling you is a good amount considering how the market is right now. And you can type in any other role within the software development lifecycle team or agile team, and you'll find that, you know, they are paying about the same salary really. Yeah, these are just some of them starting salaries, and you might find yourself like earning way up there. Yeah, so it's totally dependent on the company and a lot of factors again. And you might just want to, there is another website here which is a job board that you might want to, yeah, you might want to take note of. It's called Recruits. So on here, I'm just checking web content editor, and you can see different roles here. This one is, yeah, all kinds of roles really. This is content ops. That's what I was telling you about earlier. Content ops analysts, you know, that's another name. Digital content manager, digital content editor, and so on. So in your free time, I'd just like you to just go check so you can have an idea of what we're talking about here, really. So what else do I want to show you? Because I'm conscious of time. Let me see what's in the next slides. Okay, so I was just talking about different related job titles. So these days, I think I've mentioned this earlier to say that instead of having like QA tester as a role, as we used to have traditionally, nowadays they are now talking about a particular CMS and then putting the particular job role yeah, in the end. For example, this can be WordPress QA tester, this can be AEM QA tester, it can be Umbraco or Drupal AEM QA tester, this is Umbraco data analyst, and so on. So you can even search for all of these roles and see. So I'm just trying to say here that there is a lot of opportunities that are attached to this particular role. So a lot of directions you might find yourself even like moving into in future. But coming into tech, or if you want to upskill, I would definitely recommend this web production role, believe it or not. And yeah, I think that's the last bit of the slides. We did really well by just keeping to time. 12, I was targeting 12:15. So I think, yeah, this is really good. So now let's open the floor for questions, and yeah, we'll take it from there. So please feel free to unmute and ask your questions, please. Or shall I just assume that you all have a perfect understanding of what the role is about now, and yeah, and then I'll be seeing you for the actual training itself.
Hi, Mr. Yale, this is Femi here.
Hey, hi.
Thank you very much for such well-detailed session. For me, it's not so much of a question, it's just about, I'm very keen on going forward with the actual training session, and we just wanted to put forward a detailed timeline. I know you'd mentioned the consideration of Thursday and the likes, but there's something more structured so that at least we can plan ahead. And for me, I'm keen to go on board, and it's just about the timeline and just be sure if there are any other details that needs to be factored into that. Yeah. Take from there.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, so I'll definitely do that. So like I mentioned it earlier. So I had mentioned like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but I think from the past experience, I've seen participants actually enjoyed more when we made it just maybe 1 day per week or 2 days actually on the average, 2 days per week. That was the time we did like 4 days per week. People actually turned up, but I feel like it's too much. So I would like to, although it's going to be intensive, if we can make it maybe 2 or 1 day, and I might just take votes on that really when just before we start. So I would like to understand how convenient it is for people if we go either 2 days per week or we just go 1 day per week. So yeah, I'll definitely get I'll get the information across to you, bro. Thank you. Yeah. So someone has dropped a chat here. Okay, no. All right. So if you have any other question, please, or any other comments.
Hello. Yeah.
Hey, hi.
Yeah. My name is Ola. Yeah. Regarding the time of the training,
Yeah.
I think everybody's time was going to be the same.
Hmm.
You know, some would have gone to work and all that.
True.
So I don't know how that's going to come in, because if you say Saturday, I like the fact that we're going to that we might do it once a week, because you need time to like absorb all that you've learned and go over and over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But for example, if you put the time for Saturday at maybe like 7 to 9 in the morning, some might have
Yeah.
gone to work.
Yeah.
Yeah. They'll be
Mm.
available. So I don't know how you're going to work with that. Yeah. And I also want to ask, can my 17-year-old son also be engaged in this?
Yeah. So if I usually encourage people to start early. I encourage young people even to start early. So
Okay.
yeah, so 17-year-old, yeah, he's definitely capable. He can come for the training and he can
Okay.
start making side money for himself. I tell you,
Oh,
I train people on development, and I also, well, I train kids on
oh,
coding and stuff like that. Um,
okay.
and yeah, and I've seen kids make money for themselves. So he will start becoming independent right from now on, really. So that's the target, just to make people aware of all of these opportunities. And yeah, they should start becoming independent for themselves. So yeah, he's welcome.
Yeah. So how can we get your contact and
Yeah.
you're based in the UK, right?
Yeah, definitely based in the UK. So if you can drop your email, if you can drop
Okay.
your email address in the chats, that'll be helpful. So your email address and maybe your number, you can send it to me directly. Then I'll be able to contact you, and then we arrange on how to move forward. So, I mean, talking about the days of the week again, like I mentioned, I've seen that running it twice a week actually worked for us in the past as well, because like you mentioned, on Saturdays, maybe some people go to work, but then we did like either Thursday and Saturdays or Fridays and Saturdays, and that actually worked perfectly because somehow people just managed. And another thing to mention is that we always record every session.
Oh,
So
okay.
even when people were not able to attend the session, they will be able to watch the videos in their free time. And then we'll get to certain points that everything will become hands-on, and you'll be given tasks and stuff like that. And these are not like difficult tasks. Yeah. So again, people do their tasks later and then they submit, because we need to learn how to use all of these tools, like even the workflow management tool that I mentioned earlier, Trello, for example, very, very important. And yeah, we use, so don't worry at all. Once I've got your contacts, I'll definitely be in touch with you. Thank you very
Okay.
much. Yeah.
Okay. Just put my phone number on the chat now.
Yeah, you can drop it in the chat. That's fine. Yeah. So any other questions, guys? So that we can drop off in the next minute or two. So if you're, yeah, speak, please. Go ahead. Oh, I thought someone was saying something. Okay, so what I'm just trying to say here is that if you're interested in joining the actual training itself, let me know. If you need advice on something entirely different, not related to the to this training, but maybe within the tech field, just let me know as well. So I'm always here to help. So yeah. Shall we close now? Anybody else wants to ask questions? Okay, so maybe I'll just stop sharing then. And yeah, so thank you guys for attending today. Really, really appreciate your presence and your participation. And yeah, we'll be in touch, guys. So are you sure there is no questions? We're gonna cancel, we're gonna close now, guys. All right, just be in touch with me if you have questions or if you would like to participate. All right. Okay. Now we're dropping off now. Thank you very much, guys, and remain blessed. And yeah,
Thank you
catch
very
you guys
much.
later. No worries. Thank you. Bye, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.